Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Lane with Extreme Networks. I'm at Redis Rapidus on the Twitter. I'm not active on Twitter, so it doesn't really matter. I apologize in advance to the Dutch in the room because I gave this exact presentation to the WLA group in the Netherlands back in April, I think it was. So it'll be redundant for you, but for the rest of you, here we go. So I am here to propose an idea, not to really talk specifically about any technology, but I want to propose an idea to this body. And that is about us as a group of network professionals globally coming to an agreement on how we will evaluate and measure the quality of open, public, guest Wi-Fi, those general categories, of the user experience. Now, I've thought a lot about this over the last couple of years because since moving to Germany, I've had, especially as a business traveler, let's say not a consistently poor experience in guest networks. And anyone who...
You're all alone, no one else has.
No one else has. Hey, of course, we all know that hotel Wi-Fi. I was really actually a little surprised that in Germany it was particularly bad. So, what's that? Yeah. So a couple of little statements about what quality of experience is and what it means to me versus user experience in general. Quality of guest experience, you could say in this case. Quality of experience has been a concept that has been used in the telecom industry for a very long time now. And I make a distinction between that and user experience in that it encompasses more than just what the actual user perceives in the experience, meaning concepts like what is the quality of the network all the way through, what contributes to that user experience. It's a subtle distinction, but this slide talks a little bit about that. So if you want to rewatch the video and read that more in detail. So again, it hit me while traveling in Germany, and as a business traveler, I see so many times on websites, we have Wi-Fi. But that doesn't mean anything. In Germany, I found consistently that doesn't mean anything, including in hotel chains, like maybe even NH and other big hotel chains where I need dependable Wi-Fi because I'm doing video remote conferencing all the time. And I was doing it last night on my Wing AP that plugged into the wire in the wall, which works, by the way, in all of our, I don't know about all the rooms, but in my room, the cable works. So I bring my own AP wherever I go. Very rarely do I have a wired connection, but I'd be better off setting my phone next to a window and hotspotting with my Wi-Fi in many, many cases. So this is basically some detail about the state of public Wi-Fi and guest Wi-Fi and how there's such variable and limited quality out in the world. I think we as a group could actually influence that in the long run. So kind of jumping ahead because of lack of time, this could easily be a 1-hour conversation and should be really more of a Q&A and a real discussion because this is just an idea that I'm having here. I thought that it was the WLA that fits best for creating this standard. We have the IEEE and other organizations to develop technology and protocol standards. We have the Wi-Fi Alliance to do device, hardware, software standards, and we have the CWNP and vendor certifications to validate and verify our skill sets, yeah? But the WLA's charter is, let's see, I wrote it down here, WLAN design, creating standards for WLAN design, assessment, implementation, and validation, which will benefit the WLAN industry. And I feel that creating this kind of quality of user experience index would fit well within that charter. And on a little closer examination of the WLA plan, I felt that it fit pretty well within the Green Book or would need to be created another standards committee and maybe another book, but I think it fits pretty well within the Green Book. That's debatable. So I came up with a little bit of detail, kind of like a mock-up of my initial ideas of what a quality of user experience index would look like. And look and feel, just to start off, I think that color and a simple number is something that the general user community as well as us can really embrace. But since it's an index, it's not a single tuple, right, to be measured. It would be multiple aspects to be measured. We'd have to come up with an index that we can explain how you derive with a quality index in simple multi-category terms that both professionals and users could understand. A little bit of detail on the categories that I've come up with. Again, my initial thoughts: ease of access, so fast, free, and frictionless, right? Can we get on? Yes, exactly. Can we get on the network? Is it easy? I believe that there are ways to measure that, and there can be standard ways to measure that and to record that. It's not easy, but I think there are.
The issue is, can you get on and stay on?
Can you get on and stay on? And that's
6 hours later, you get kicked off, whatever.
Exactly. And so the standard would have to be kind of built into that. You'd have to have some kind of baseline, but that should be flexible. Is anybody here aware of RFC 2544? Anyone? RFC 2544. Switch vendors would know this for sure. So this is a baseline, a standard by which Ethernet switches should be tested. And customers can take this, what vendors use all the time, and customers can actually take that as a baseline, because it's quite simple to read this RFC, and make their own test plans. If they're doing a proof of concept or doing a validation or something like that, they can hold Ethernet switch vendors accountable to that. What I'm proposing is something very, very similar to that. So ease of access, coverage, security, connectivity quality, and end-to-end throughput. I put a little bit of detail on this. I've written up a lot more, but this is a 10 talk, not an hour talk. So there's a lot of subtle details, implications, and complications to the measurement of each one of these. But I do believe it's possible. So I did a mock-up of what this would look like, this guest quality access index. Again, I think a number is important, better than a star or a bar or a dot type of measurement, which is, very linear, flat. It's one little value. A number that composed of the 5 categories, as you can see, maybe it's a little hard to see here, but if you had a graphic like this, let's say on a public website, or you had a symbol that a standards committee could agree on that could be used by marketing organizations, for example, your Kayaks, your Travelocities, your Booking.coms, your HAES in Germany and other places in Europe. If you could get a little bit of an industry buy-in to something that was kind of stamp of approval by an industry group like the WLA, and potentially with a little bit of endorsement from the other groups, then I think this would be very, very interesting. And I think users, if they did a little bit of digging and wanted to know what it was about, could understand those 5 categories. Of course, there would be a website to explain it in detail for those who are kind of pro-hobbyist type of people, a little more interested. But it was along the lines of earlier, didn't we hear the anecdote about you go into a hotel and the new Wi-Fi alliance with Wi-Fi 6, but this hotel has Wi-Fi 3, I'm going to go complain to the manager? This concept is an idea of proactivity. So I know if I want to go to the NH hotel in Prague, that this hotel, with how many hotels? There's 20 hotels probably within a 2-kilometer radius of this hotel. Within this 20 hotels, does this hotel have this quality index? Then I'd actually know, not just that, yes, they support Wi-Fi 6. Wi-Fi 6, as we all know, by itself doesn't mean anything. And a 4-star rated quality, Wi-Fi quality, also doesn't mean anything. My concept, if we could agree on this as an industry, would be a number with validated, measured categories that were explained, with a standard by which you measure that, which again, I don't really have time to get into the details on that. That will be a meaningful number that someone can help make their decisions. So for those business travelers and others who need good quality Wi-Fi, could use something like this to know more than, it's just 4-star rated and Wi-Fi 6. Okay, so I did a little bit of more of a mock-up on what a website that could be created by a standards organization or by, who knows, maybe it'd be an open source community-driven thing that would give some detail. You could hover over and get some more detail, but at the end of the day, it would just be something standard that could be published for anyone. So, how does this index work? I think this is I only have like 2 more minutes, but please take a look at this and realize that, this could go a lot of different ways. There are a lot of challenges on how you could standardize something that you'd have people being able to measure this, I would suggest, my concept is that there would be professionally certified professionals like us who had read the standards, who had gone through a training on the standards, and who had possessed the right equipment, and so they knew the right methodologies and procedures, had the right calibrated equipment, and could run through a test plan, sell that as a service to the industry, and, when that's a big one for everyone in this room, sell that as a service to the industry, and then create a rating that actually had more weight, but combined with user ratings. So a user into this, a guest in this hotel could give a rating, and that would go with a much lower weight, as this is a user experience, to keep continually keeping the quality of the data to a certain level. But then an NH hotel, for example, could contract someone who is certified in creating this and then professionally verify that rating. Something like that. Okay. I'm pretty much at the end, maybe 1 minute of questions, but my final proposal is that what I'd like to do is in Phoenix or wherever the next WLPC is, I would like to actually, instead of a 10-minute talk, we actually have a round table. And so you can contact me if you're interested in participating in it. We'll see if we can come together and get Keith's approval. I think he's interested in having something like that, and have maybe a 1 or 2 hour real discussion of the details on that. Okay, any questions for 1 minute? No questions. Keith says no questions. Okay, cheers.